Good morning. I hope you all are fit and fine, and I welcome you in this lecture of SS 9th standard. And we are going to learn today the part number 3, which will describe the basic information about the Battle of Buxar, Battle of Plassey, and other more battles too here. Now the map which is displayed here on the board behind me shows you some of the informative department of their colonies, which were somehow built up by the Portuguese, Britishers, or by the French people. Now if I talk about the colonies, I made you understand in my previous lecture why they used to make the colony. Because in order to keep a backup, if there is a problem, if there is a protest, if there is any rally before them from the Indian people, obviously they need some backup. Obviously they need their own group of armies where they can also handle their zone, their territories like Goa, this Dadar, Nagar Haveli, then Diu, Daman, Mumbai, Karaikal, Machilipatnams, and other Mahe and other provinces here like Indian ancient time. And as I said you that India was having like 562 states before the independence. Now today we are actually moving on the level where India is consisting some of the states like 29 to 30 states. Now the 30th state is not concerned, so we can keep it like 29 states, where the Vidarbha is fighting from the Maharashtra to get on a secular state of nation. Means it is actually trying to come in the state level of the India. Apart from that, if you talk about the today's lecture, in the recap if you talk about, this whole of the information shows that the recap, Battle of Buxar, Battle of Plassey, or the history of Nawab like Sir Siraj-ud-Daulah. As I said you, he was the Nawab of Bengal, but in the previous lecture I also mentioned you that how he was somehow defeated because he was only trusting his army, and among that army group is one of the person whose name was Mir Jafar. You can see this name here, Mir Jafar. He was somehow coaxed by the Robert Clive. Now who was Robert Clive? The question arises here. Robert Clive was a British person and he was actually holding a good position for the army group of the people as a chief executive army group from the Chennai. So what he did, he somehow coaxed Mir Jafar, because Mir Jafar was the very close person as he was also the head leader of this army battle group of Sir Siraj-ud-Daulah. So he just made him to understand that if you are coaxed, if you are actually somehow वही मैं देखा था आपको, तो कट करेंगे. So he made that a conclusion, he made a deal with the Mir Jafar that if you are actually defeating in your battle along with your army, means if you are not supporting your own king Sir Siraj-ud-Daulah, you will be made king on the place of him. Means the Nawab of Bengal next will be just you, means you are actually going to become the Nawab of Bengal. So in that case, Mir Jafar was somehow following his own greed. He did the mistake and he supported the British army, where Sir Siraj-ud-Daulah, though he was holding the very good battle, very good strategy, all the pickup and power in the Bengal state, he was defeated. So this all the battle is now moving on the forward level, and today in this lecture, after finishing the recap, we will learn about the Battle of Buxar, then Battle of expansion of the company's rule, subsidiary alliance also, and many more further things also I'll try to understand. Now don't you worry about that, because if you think that SS is a lengthy subject, you need to understand, if you just follow some of the basic information and basic rules and regulations or the shortcut keys like flow chart, then you can easily learn the big questions also, big questions answer into a very easy method, okay, into a very general method. So that's only I'm trying to teach you also. So apart from this map, let's move to the Battle of Buxar. British rule made Mir Jafar Nawab of Bengal. What was British rule? Let me find out here. Let me just show you out here. What was the British rule? British rule means, according to the British rule, East India Company, see, there was not only one East India Company, there were more than one. French India Company also, there was also the French East India Company, Portuguese East India Company, Britishers East India Company. So in this case of category, if I talk about the Bengal side East India Company, which was somehow allocated by Shah Jahan at that time, they made a rule. Now what was the rule? The rule was very common and simple. If a king is losing the battle, if a king is no more remaining winner in the battle, any battle of his own town state or his own province or the princely state, he has to give his kingdom to the British conspiracy or to the British Empire. According to that, Sir Siraj-ud-Daulah gave his whole of the kingdom to the British. And now, as per the promise did by Robert Clive as the representative of the British officer, Nawab was somehow made to the Nawab of Bengal was somehow made in the name of Sir Sirajud-Daulas, one of the very best person or the close person, who was Mir Jafar. Now Mir Jafar thought that if I am ruling this Bengal, say here, this person thought that if he is ruling the Bengal, he may be getting more and more tax from the people. But actually he failed in that, and the reason why Mir Qasim was appointed next year. It was an all dirty game. See, the Britishers were trying to take only the goodness of the people, and they were trying to use that goodness into their profit level. As the Indian people were very good, they were innocent, and somehow they were not ready to fight with the Britishers, because they all were from the farmer grade, from the artisans grade, from the hard-working man grade, or from the other grades. So they were not like the born warrior. But afterward we became the born warrior. Because why? Because there was a reason. If you are actually pressing any material according to the laws of physics, if I talk about, if you are pressing any material, any metal, okay, into its breaking point, obviously it is going to break. So after it is going to break, or when it's gonna break, it will release some particles, means in the form of reaction. The same thing happened inside the state of Bengal too. Here, when Mir Jafar was ruling at the Bengal, there was a heavy protest against him taken place by the people of Bengal. And after that, when he was failed to recover and to take all the poll taxes from the people, he was somehow seen as the lost battle man from the Bengal. Means he was not more than a simple common person who was just like a normal person of Bengal, and he was not like somehow accepted as Nawab of Bengal, because he was not giving that much amount of wealth, tax, that amount of land or the resources or the human resources also, and other things here. So he was now somehow replaced. So Nawab of Bengal was now replaced by Mir Qasim. Now who was Mir Qasim? Let me define you. Mir Qasim was from the same family grade of the Mir Jafar. So he was made as the Bengal's Nawab. Why he was made? There was once again the ambition behind this post, because he was also somehow subjected for the profiting. Okay, he was subjected for the profitery. Means the Britishers thought that if we are gonna make this person like Nawab of Bengal, Mir Qasim, we can get heavy tax from there. We can recover all the loss amount. We can get the land in our control. We can get all the patients in our control, and also the resource and money and everything in our control. It means that all thing will be in our control and will become more powerful, so that we can rule and we can conquer other kingdoms too here, other princely states too here. As I said you, don't you forget here, there were around 562 to 563 princely states which were merged by one of the leader, who is also known as Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. He actually is the main person. Along with him, VP Menon was there, and many other people were there who was working to merge this kinds of princely state into the one union national states, like 25 states. Then it became like 26, 27 and 28. Now if you ask me how 25, I can say that like Bengal itself was holding 3 other states. Orissa was there, Bihar was there. In 2000, Bihar separated Jharkhand. If I talk about the 2nd July 2014, Telangana was separated. So like this, slowly all the other state also came out. So that is the other thing, that's the other work, extra gyan. Focusing to the topic here, now when the Mir Qasim was somehow failed in his recovering money, or he fall more ambitious by himself, not to the Britishers. He was more ambitious, that he was actually not recovering more tax from the people of Bengal, but he was actually somehow supporting them. So this was the reason somehow Mir Qasim was also about to be changed as from the post of Nawab of Bengal. But meanwhile, what Mir Qasim did? Mir Qasim went and he met in a meeting with the king of Awadh. Same time there was a visit of Mughal emperor's king also, means some of the king, they also came here. So the expansion of the company rule says that the year 1773, let's talk about the year 1773 AD, that is Anno Domini. You should know about the full form also whenever you are learning, because SS will give you the basic information about AD, CE, BC and many more things also. BC means before Christ, okay, and many more other things are also related with that. I'll give the general example of that. So the company's rule was expanding, and according to which governor of Bengal was somehow about to change. So he was about to change. So who will be the next person at the place of that Governor General? So I'll introduce a name. Actually, you can see that name in your textbook too here, which is mentioned with a very good figure. So here comes Mr. Warren Hastings. Who was Mr. Warren Hastings? Let me define you. He was actually a very strong Governor General of our nation. Under his rule, not only Bengal but other nearby states also came, where he can apply his own rules and regulations, so that he can be proving more ambitious to the British people, he can be proving more profitable person to the British people. And as you know that, my dear students, profit is the only thing which Britishers were needing in the ancient time, because no profit, they were going with the no team, so they were needing the basic profit here. See, one thing common I would like to show you in this map before going in this lecture. One thing very common, just you can see out here, whatever the colonies were made, I'll show you by the highlighting of a chalk, that whenever these colonies were made here, you can see one thing, that they are actually very much near towards the coastal zones. Now why they are near to the coastal zone? Can you answer me that question? Of course you can answer me, I know that. It is actually a shortcut for the international waters. Why they were using the shortcut? Again a question is arising, because if there is any epidemic or if there is any kind of battle from the local people, I denote you, local people means the people nearby living that area, or the people of India only, the Indian people. They are not gonna use the internal land routes, they will move directly towards the sea routes, and they can generally go out from there. That's how, and that's why they used all these port cities, means the cities or the states, not the cities, the states which are related with the port. And as you know that, Goa, Dadar and Nagar Haveli, okay, Diu, and these all like Pondicherry right now, we can say that, Puducherry right now, and Pondicherry in the ancient, in the earlier era, or the earlier time period it was known as, were also selected by this. And if you talk about the Kolkata, Fort William was one of the basic point of their rule, Fort William, and you can see this now also, it is there actually in the date of 8/7/2020, because it is kept as a memorial in the memory of British people. So let's move to the move further to the expansion of the company's rule. So as I gave you the extra gyan from there, right now we need to understand what was the expansion of the company rule and how it expanded. Now if a company is expanding, it needs some kinds of personalities who can expand their empire well, who can coax the people, who can rule the people, and also who can turn the people over a negative side or a wrong side, or a side where the weaker section of the department can be going on, where they can rule them easily. Somehow it can be leading in the future as a divide and rule policy too, because together we stand united, or we can say that united we stand and divided we fall. So after that, here Governor General was brought in the activity zone of this Bengal's ruling department, or you can say at that time of the ruling era. And moving further, that he was also one of the person who incurred, or you can say on the pretext of greed, he actually applied his own rules and regulations, where he can accept basic tax to the hyper level of the tax from the people. Now what are the basic tax? Basic tax means starting from the general small level to the upper level of the tax, where the landowners will become the land servant. Now how the landowner will become the land servant? There is only one reason to make them, because if the landowners are having all the profit like zamindars and all, tomorrow they can fight, tomorrow they can somehow finance the fighting group also, or we can say that the group which were relating with the patriotism, or the groups which were related with the rebellion group also. Therefore they were also somehow targeted well, so they have to give 70% of the tax, sometimes 80% of the tax, and in order to pay that tax to survive in their land, they needed to take extra amount of money from the other zamindars too. So when they're taking the other zamindars land money, or when they're taking other zamindars money, which is also known in English as OWE, they were somehow becoming very poor. And if the cropping is not there, or if we can say if the harvesting is not proper at the last time of the cutting crop, they'll be in loss, and again they need to give the tax also, and to fill that also what they have taken. And in that meanwhile they needed to sell their land also, and after selling their land, what they will do? They'll become their own land servant. This was the basic example, or this was the basic theory from the Britishers, where they were trying to make people to go on this level. So Warren Hastings became the first Governor General of India, and during his tenure, means his rule, the first Maratha war fought. Now, why the Marathis were fighting? Why it was the Marathas were fighting? See, one thing you need to understand, Gujarat was not divided, extra gyan. Gujarat and Maharashtra was actually a single state at that time. Furthermore, it divided after some time, okay? So, in the first Maratha war, we need to understand, and the second Mysore war, there was something remaining which occurred actually in the third Mysore war. Third Mysore war was somehow like a war which was very, very drastic, or you can say very sadful war in our Indian war history, because we actually in that war we lost our one of the tiger who was known as Tipu Sultan, the tiger of Mysore. So if we talk about the problem from the East India Company increased because this Maratha wars were there, and the Mysore war was there, and many more war were fought somehow simultaneously. So Cornwallis took place as the Governor General of the Third Mysore War, and took place and he was about to take place of the Tipu Sultan, or somehow famously also known as the Tiger of Mysore or the Mysore's Tiger. The company had to join the hand with Marathas and Nizams to somehow defeat the Tipu Sultan. See, my dear students, again this is the very dirty game which is played by the British people, and the princely states or the people or the king and their princely ruling kingdom or anarchy of the state, whatever the people they were in the higher group of the category, in the ruler group of category, were thinking that these Britishers are gonna make us profitable, or they are gonna profit us extra, and we will conquer all our neighboring kingdoms, will become the kings of that, they all will be in our control. They were actually mistaken, because in the face of friend, in the name of friend, or in the gesture and get up of friendship, these were not our friends, they were somehow like the enemies. It was like a sweet poison, or the poison greed given to these kinds of kings and queens. So lately what happened, Marathis were joining the hands with the Britishers. Nizams also followed the League of Nations at that time, and somehow we can say that in the Maratha war, in the Nizam's war, or combined war with these two states of the nation, or these two kings group or the people group, the company's rule of East India became more powerful, and furthermore its consequences came out. Means the tiger, means if I say about the name, same as what I repeated in my previous time, that is Tipu Sultan was somehow defeated well. Now when he was defeated well, as per the same rule of the company, he has, or his upcoming, or whatever his remaining kingdom will be given to the Britishers, as I said you earlier before. So after the Cornwallis rule, Sir John Soar came. Now who was Sir John Soar? He became the Governor General, and he became more ambitious Governor General. So due to some rigid policies adopted by him, the East India Company fame declined. See, mistakes are there with anyone. I can also do, you can also do, anyone can do the mistake. The same mistake was done by Lord Cornwallis. So according to the Lord Cornwallis, we talk about, the fame of the company declined, and the Maratha became more stronger. Now these groups were not supporting the Britishers, and somehow we need to understand that. So the India on the other part of the supremacy became stronger and powerful to here. So what happened? The impression of the Governor General Lord Cornwallis, Sir John Soar, recently we can say that Sir John Soar became very, very bad in the name of Britishers, or in the examination of the Britishers. So furthermore, he was also somehow removed from there. So there is a new person coming here according to the textbook of your own syllabus, that is Wellesley. Wellesley was a supercharged minded person. He was a mega mind person. Why? Because he came with the subsidiary alliance. Today I will not teach you subsidiary alliance because it's a long topic, and if I am teaching you in this lecture, you might be confused about every information which I gave you, including the extra gyan too. So what is subsidiary alliance? I'll make you understand just the introductive part of that, because if you are clear with the introduction, you can be going easily with the theory. Subsidiary alliance means that somehow there is offer, or we can say that Britishers were giving offer to the princely states. If I would say the name of Nizams of Hyderabad, Scindias, Awadh, Nizams were the first among them to accept the subsidiary alliance. Subsidiary alliance came with the rules and regulations, like the king without the heir has to give the kingdom after his death to the British people. If the king is dying, then the kingdom will be of the Britishers, according to this rule. subsidiary alliance was like a sweet poison. It was like, you support me, okay, and I will support you to win these kinds of states. The king and queen thought that, let's support the Britishers. They will give their army to us. You know what they did actually? Whenever Nizams were supporting, or whenever, or you can say the history is itself, history is the witness that Nizam supported Britishers, but Nizam got nothing from the back of the Britishers, because actually Britishers army group were somehow trained in the group of Nizams or Nizam's army at Hyderabad. Even they were given food, cloth, ammunition, means the machinery, and many more things. So Britishers were just enjoying the superpower, and they were merging their armies, inside this Indian group of the people, inside this Turkish group of people, or whatever the group of people were. They're like Nawabs and the Nizams also. So afterwards they can capture their own kingdom by giving the greed of getting the 562 states or 562 other princely states. So this is actually the meaning of subsidiary alliance, and many more things are there. Annexation policy is too there, and the terms and trainings are also there. If I talk about supremacy of the government is also there, and where if I read the first example of that, okay, they trained the army of the East India Company inside the governmental rule of the other team. And also in the return, the accepting state shall have been given all the army group, and they'll be also protected here. The subsidiary alliance means somehow Britishers were giving extra policies, extra ammunition, extra power to the Indian kings, but for the smaller time, because after that they has to give their kingdom by some kinds of other whatever their deal was there. So this is actually the lecture related with the politics of the Britishers, the lecture which is related with the dirty game of the Britishers, and the lecture related with these kinds of theories about the Britishers, where we can understand that the army group of the Britishers were somehow not supporting the Indian people, though they were pretending that we will support you, you just support or accept our subsidiary alliance. So student, my dear students, today this much lecture is actually delivered by me. Tomorrow, or in the lecture number 4, I'll make you to understand the other basic theories of this lesson, where you can also get some extra information, extra gyan as I gave you, and also you will learn actually that what was India's condition, how the Indian kings were coexed, and how this whole 562 to 563 states were somehow submerged inside with the one nation, one state, and one unity. Till then you can keep revising and also keep browsing over the Google for the extra data. So take care till then. I will meet in the 4th lecture.